Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Chronically Offline podcast. I hope we're all ready for the weekend, and it's nice to have you all here. I keep going, it's because I could hear myself at first, and I'm like, turn it off. I can't think of anything else. I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, if you want to send this to anyone that you think that might benefit from this, please do. We're talking to a qualified therapist today, which is really cool, I think. Because people like to come to me like I'm qualified. I always tell them, I'm like, no, I'm not qualified, please, like respectfully. But yeah, so let me figure this out now, because I'm going to have to bring my own voice back in so I can check that both of our voices work. So, right. Can I still hear myself? Yes. Yours should come through. Right. Could you just give us a sound test, please? Just say hello or something.
Hello, 1 2 1 2.
Yep, great. Fantastic. Right.
Okay.
Would you like to introduce yourself or the people watching, please?
Yeah, my name's Peter Lewis. I have my own private practices, and the name is Trafford Counselling. So Trafford, as in the area in Manchester, counselling. Yeah, I qualified as a therapist just this year, just this summer. So I'm quite new to being qualified and all that. But obviously, I've been seeing clients already
Yeah.
through placement and all that since before I actually qualified.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that because I know I've been told to sort my placement out for next year. And I'm like, right, that's fine. What does this entail? So I'm glad you've said, no one's told me. I'm like,
It's a mystery.
literally, I'm like, they were like, sort it out. And I'm like, I mean, all right. You're going to give me a bit of guidance to tell me where I'm going to put myself, you know? So, can people watching hear my guest? Can you hear my guest, everyone? If not, please speak now or forever hold thy peace, because we'll have to repeat. Hold on, sorry, everyone. Let's chalk. Yes, great. That's grand. Okay, okay. I've got loads of questions, to be fair. Like I said, if there's any questions, obviously you told me one that you didn't want to answer. Respect that. That's absolutely fine. You know, I'm not like you're gonna force you to answer questions. Um, you know, I've got plenty of questions I could also ask you from myself as well, and probably people will be interested to ask you questions in the comments, which I will run by you. Um, so yeah, do you want to tell us like a little bit like about your journey to how you got where you are today?
Yeah, is this like why I wanted to become a counselor as well, or is it just what I've been through?
Both, if you want,
Yeah,
like just
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm in recovery. I'm in addiction recovery.
Mhm.
I go to Narcotics Anonymous, and I had not worked for a few years because I was in the middle of addiction,
Mhm.
and I kind of it's they encourage you to like be friends basically with the other people in
Yeah.
recovery, and I realised that a not insubstantial amount, just a few people that I knew in recovery were also therapists. And I kind of looked at them and thought, well, if you guys are doing it, maybe I could do it as well.
Mhm.
And it's something that I don't know if this is a reference that you won't get, but back in the day, there was a TV show called Ally McBeal, and she had a therapist in like the 90s. So it might be
I
too older reference for you.
I was born in '97, so
Yeah, yeah, you won't have seen it
yeah.
then. But anyway, so back then when I was like 16, it was first planted the seed, but I never quite
Mm.
thought that I would do it until it became a case of, well, you've got off drugs, you've like kind of
Mm.
fixed your life partially. How about a new career? What are you going to do with yourself now? And I don't know, it just sort of I knew enough people who I could ask that I thought, I could do this. And I was already speaking to people a lot on the phone um, who were also in recovery. So, like, they encourage you to do that. And I
Mm.
thought, basically, I could get paid for this.
I feel that I can relate to that because I used to get like a lot of like even just like friends and stuff that would come to me about things, you know, just life circumstances and things, and I thought, this is mentally draining. I should be getting paid for this,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. So I was like, right, let's get into education, I guess. And oh my god, I'm like, oh, it's hard. I'm like, this is way harder than I thought it were gonna be. I'm like, oh.
Where are you up to at the moment?
I'm on my level
On your,
3.
you're on the level 3,
Yeah,
okay.
I did
Oh,
level
you've got
2.
plenty of you got plenty of time to get your placement then.
Oh, I know, but
Uh,
they told me like
yeah,
beginning of this one, they were like, oh yeah, well, you still need to like start looking. So like when you do your level 4,
yeah,
so
yeah. It'll happen. You'll be fine. But yeah, it's I was a bit when it came to education stuff. I found it challenging at first because I'd always done sciences and like maths based sciences, like pure sciences. I never done. I suppose you could call it humanities, couldn't you? So all the
yeah,
referencing, all the stuff that is kind of it was a really hard. It was an adjustment to the way my brain worked to do that. And also, I think my brain was probably still damaged from the drugs, to be brutally honest with you. But that healed with time, I
I
think.
feel, mate, I've got brain damage with BPD, mate. So I mean, I can relate to that. It's one, it just gets damaged one way or another, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, um, yeah. Thank you for giving us a little bit of background. Appreciate you being so like open and honest with us. You know, not everyone's always comfortable with that, so appreciate that.
yeah.
Thank you.
It's I wouldn't have much else to talk about otherwise if I weren't honest. There's not much going on in my life.
I feel that though. I'm just like, right. They're like, what's happened today? And I'm like, it's just stress. That's all it is. Everything. It's nothing exciting, but it's stressful.
Yeah,
Um, so, so you kind of answered the first question actually. So, like, what made you want to become a therapist in the first place?
yeah.
Um, but like, so I've got like, do you think like therapy is becoming too trendy online? Are we, or like, I'll divulge a bit. Are we seeing too many people that class themselves as therapists when but they're not qualified? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you saw what happened the other day, yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In the Discord, the incident in the Discord,
Yeah.
there was a guy who was studying something. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. But yeah, do I think that therapy is becoming too trendy online? I think, well, there's always been unqualified therapists who people who set themselves up because it's not a regulated industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pardon me, I just had a burp then. There's
He's right.
yeah, it's not a regulated industry as we know. So in theory, like even you've had some training. In theory, you could set up
Oh
tomorrow
yeah, I obviously
and
would
do
think
it.
it was morally correct, but oh yeah,
Yeah,
legally I could
yeah.
do, which
There's
is mad.
there's no yeah, there's no legal recourse. No one could stop you if you did that. You might struggle to get insurance. You
Yeah,
might, like so if you get sued, it's on you for,
yeah,
for something that allegedly happened like in a session. Not that
yeah,
I'm saying you would, but yeah. I think that therapy is becoming too trendy. I think maybe it's more a case of people are positioning themselves as kind of wellness
yes,
sort
that's
of
the word I was looking for. Yeah,
influencers, yeah, and they don't particularly have to say that they've got qualifications or what they are, but they kind of imply it through their imparting of the knowledge. So I think there's a bit of that that goes on, and yeah, how qualified are they? Well, you might never know.
yeah, exactly that, isn't it? You know, it's especially when they're charging a certain price. I think it's definitely or like they're targeting a certain audience for like a lot more vulnerable people. That's taking advantage of them in a sense, really. It's not
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
it could be.
it's definitely something that needs to be like more regulated on like TikTok. I think, who were posting and stuff. Yeah. So like with that dude yesterday, I mean, from what I've found out, he just had a theory
It
essentially.
seemed a bit. I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't listen. There were a load of voice notes, and ain't nobody got time for me to listen to everyone's voice notes. But yeah, from what I could gather from it, there was a lot of yeah. Well, I mean, in science, see, this is the thing. A theory in science, if something's a theory, then it's more or less a proven fact. There's like, because there's reams of evidence to support. There's the theory of relativity. There's Pythagoras' theorem. Those things work. A theory in modern parlance just means I've got an idea that I kind of just made up out of nowhere. Sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Exactly.
it's not,
Yeah.
it's not the same thing. So yeah, so yeah,
Hello to Rivernels. Sorry, we just had someone join the saying hello.
hi Rivernels.
So, what's your opinion? Oh, sorry, I skipped a question on accident. Do you ever get therapy yourself? Do you
I
actively
have
get
had
therapy?
plenty of therapy, yeah, in my like lifetime. I was when I was even when I was first went to university when I was 18, and I'm like 42 now.
You look so
I'm
good
not.
for your age, can I just say?
Thank you.
You look
Maybe she's born with it. Yeah.
you look so good for your age. I'm jealous. I'm like, I hope I look like you when I'm your age. I'm here like crow's feet already, and I'm only 28.
Oh, maybe it's just the lighting, but you can't tell that I am. Yeah, pretty much. I've got enough crow's feet myself. My this face will tell the story if you got close enough. But what was the question again?
You just
Oh yeah, my experience of therapy.
yeah.
Yeah, so even when I was yeah, so even like over 20 years
Yeah.
ago, like when I was at like university for the first time, which I happened to drop out of. Yeah, I got therapy for. I thought I was depressed. I thought I was at one point diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and that was years ago. I don't know, maybe 2000 and something, in the OOs, in the thousands. And I was then diagnosed with ADHD like about 2017 or something like that. I've kind of come to the conclusion that if I do have the depression and or the anxiety, it's actually a result of the ADHD rather than
Yeah.
it's a thing by itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so on and off, and over the years, I've had plenty of therapy, plenty of different types of therapy. Some I didn't know what kind of therapy it was. Like you just get told, you're gonna have therapy, you're gonna have
Yeah.
counselling, and like I've had CBT, I didn't like it,
Yeah.
and I've had what was probably person-centered therapy back then, which
Yeah.
seemed fine, but I'm not sure if I was engaging with it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've got to be
and
in
then
that
recently.
mindset, haven't you? To be able to do person-centered theory. It's a lot. Yeah. I know what you mean.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I think the training has helped me know what to expect from therapy as well. Because, like, I went in there expecting someone else to fix me, and they're not. That's not our job as therapists.
No.
You know, I'm not going to solve your problems for you. I'm not going to. I had someone on the phone once saying, "I'd like you to give me coping strategies." I'm like, well, that's kind of an NH. If you want coping strategies, Google them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going. to I that would be a waste of everyone's time for me to sit here
Yeah.
and tell you like. And I think other types of therapy might do that. CBT kind of based ones might do that, but that's not what I do. So I'd
Yeah.
rather set the expectation there.
No, I agree. I mean, absolute agreement. You know, I've met people myself that are like, "Ah, it don't work, it don't work," and I'm like, "But did you actually engage with your therapist and do what they said?" No. Well, then no, it's not going to work. Then is it you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's no one's going to fix you for you. You got to do it. It's got to
Exactly.
come from you. You got to do it yourself. You got to be
Exactly.
willing to change.
Exactly. That's it. You've got to be at right mindset when you go into therapy because if you go in being stubborn and stuff, it's not going to work. End of. So, what's your opinion on self-diagnosis through like social media and TikTok? Because that obviously has been a bit on the rise, hasn't it, in recent years?
Yeah, we had a little conversation
Yeah,
about
we did.
this, like off air, didn't
Yeah.
we? Yeah. So I'll say what I said to you, which is, I think it's okay in terms of it's a good starting. It's a good place to start. You know,
Yeah.
if you suspect that you've got something, if you're for some reason scrolling through TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and you're getting a load of information on one particular thing, and you're like, well, um, I recognize a lot of these things in myself, then fine, it's a good place to start. But then take it further, go and get the actual diagnosis and go and
Yeah.
get some actual help. Because I've known several people in my life. I've got ADHD. I've known several people in my life who I've known who've said, I've got ADHD. I'm like, oh, have you been diagnosed? No. Oh, right. Are you doing anything about it? No. I'm like, well, it's not just an excuse. You can't just,
Yeah.
like, like,
Yeah.
try and help yourself here.
Yeah. No,
Because,
I've met
yeah,
people like that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does the rest of us. It gives the rest of us a bad name with things like that. I think
I found that with
because
like BPD
yeah,
as well, because that's been like on the rise of people self-diagnosing, like even teenagers, and it's like, mate, you cannot even get diagnosed with BPD as a teenager, because obviously,
really,
yeah, because obviously it's through mostly. Obviously, there's odd case where people have developed it as they've been a bit older, but it's developed in childhood because of childhood trauma. So because obviously your hormones and stuff, usually they won't diagnose you till you've gotten past that and you're an adult.
right?
Um, yeah, so it's like I saw a TikTok and someone was like 13. I was like, no, you're not. You've not been diagnosed with that. No, you
You're just a
haven't.
13-year-old.
Literally, you like I'm not saying I'm not gonna like take away from how shit it is when you're like 13 and your hormones and what you're going through at school, because it's shit. It is in its own sense and that, but what was I? So to basically add what you said, yeah, I agree. I think it's okay to say, hey, I think I have this. I think words are important with that. But if we are in a place where we can push towards getting a diagnosis, then we should be doing that. And I can appreciate that some diagnoses are a lot harder to get than others, like in the UK. So, like an example I was talking about just yesterday, actually, was to some couple of friends of mine that, like, if you were to try and get diagnosed with another personality disorder that's not BPD, I can tell you now they wouldn't put it down as like MPD. They would just label it as personality disorder. I don't think they'd go out of their way to be like, right, that's narcissistic personality disorder. I think they would just put, well, in UK it's EUPD, isn't it? That's how it's
Yeah, yeah.
looked at here, but
Which
I,
sounds worse.
it,
Emotionally unstable
yeah,
personality disorder. Whose idea was that? But yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Do you know why that is? Why they won't name the disorder? Because I don't. Is it a stigma thing? Do
I
you
think it
think?
could think. I'm not going to sit and say that I know, but I think it probably is. And there is, if you give it, I mean, if you look quickly on the internet at some point when you've got time around like BPD, it's very, very stigmatized. Like, at least with such as like other disorders, you can get help a lot easier. Whereas, like with BPD, a lot of people don't want to treat you. You are seen as untreatable because you're too unstable. I've been lucky and I've managed to get DBT and stuff because I know because obviously, I I study this. I know my rights when it comes to accessing that healthcare. So I proper put my foot down with it. And but I have, I've spoken to a lot of people where they've gone, even in the UK, they've tried to take it as far as they can, and they just will not treat them. They will, because they see
Right.
it. Well, it's not.
It's too complex, maybe,
Yes,
or they see it
yes,
as
they
too
say it's too
complex.
complex, but it's not. And we just want, the thing is, we just want to be heard. Um,
It seems a bit much to just write people off, going, "You're too complex. We're not going to deal with you."
Literally,
Like
I've
that's.
I've had that though years ago with the NHS. I
Yeah.
got like, because we've got two like mental health teams in my town. You've got your one for like your IAPT, so you like your talking therapies and stuff like that, and then you have your community mental health team, which is more for more acute mental illness, BPD and stuff like that, schizophrenia, and I remember years ago trying to get to that secondary mental health team, which I needed, and they sent me a letter after getting assessed, and they were like, you're not severe enough for us, but you're too severe for that service. We don't know really where to put you, so just keep taking your medication. And that were it for years. And I was like,
Oh,
great.
and live with it.
Yeah.
And suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah, yeah, for years. And I was like, I can't. But luckily, doing
How
it,
can there be? How can there be a section where they're like, "You're too bad for us, but you're actually not bad enough to be referred on"? How can there be a whole section in the middle where
literally,
it's like,
yeah,
you know, you're too in the middle here?
it's, yeah, it's
It's
bad.
atrocious, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And this were before COVID. This were back in when I'd got diagnosed around. So, like
Mm,
2018, 2019.
yeah.
But it were just yeah, someone put in the chat in that's just put happens a lot. Because
Does it?
Rivernels, she also studied psychology for a fair while. And I think you worked around it, didn't you? If you want to put back in the chat, I can't remember now. Um, but yeah, it can happen where they just don't apparently know where to put you. But it is quite more common in like BPD and stuff because they don't want to touch you. It's shit. It is so invalidating. It's like when I called up
Hmm.
to get booked in for things, even though they'd clearly not like read my file before they called me, because the woman on the phone, which might I add was a senior mental health nurse, went to me, "Are you really diagnosed?" And I went, "What do you mean?" She says, "Well, are you really diagnosed with BPD?" I says, "Well, did you check my file before the phone call?" "Yes, I am." So I put the phone down, had a bit of a cry, called back
Yeah.
up. I was like, "I want to speak to your admin or someone, your supervisor, because I want to put a complaint in because that's disgusting." And then she like looked who it was and she was like, "Oh, it was like senior mental health nurse." I says, "Well, you need to sort them out then, don't you?" Because the thing is, I can
Hmm.
take that on the chin. But what if that was someone that was extremely vulnerable? That could have been their
Well,
reason.
exactly. Yeah.
So I want
Yeah.
to. Don't get me wrong. I think like there's a lot of stuff with NHS that I think is like fucked.
But what if they start questioning things? What if they think maybe they didn't put it on my file after all?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Maybe it's
yeah,
not on record. Maybe I have to start all over again or somewhere else. You
yeah.
know, it's yeah. It must be heartbreaking.
So sorry, I'm just reading a comment. She put mental health groups I worked with for a short while. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Um. So
Oh,
so. What
I
happened?
was trying to make my chair go up and it went down instead.
I'm gonna clip that.
I was just, you just sunk down into nowhere.
You're gonna need therapy after this, aren't you?
I will. I will. Honestly,
that's that's
it's
grand.
never
That
happened to me before. Yeah, you can use that to advertise this if you want.
I'm absolutely going to, mate. Oh, so how do you this is how do you stay mentally stable whilst hearing so much trauma every day?
How do I stay mentally stable? Well, some would argue that I'm not, but yeah, no. How do I stay mentally stable? You know what? Actually, as time has gone by, I've recognised like I used to. I'm kind of, an ambivert, like partly extroverted, partly introverted, and I've recognised that a lot of the a lot of the time, all I need is time alone,
Yeah,
time away from people, time alone,
I
not giving
get
my
that.
energy out, or not like using energy to socialise, because
Yeah.
socialising can be quite draining for me.
Mm.
I journal, as we're supposed to as therapists, I'm
Yeah.
sure you know.
Yeah.
I don't do it as often as I should have been. I've been doing it like once a week recently. I'm on a bit of a good roll actually, but yeah. So I do a bit of journaling. I have in the past had my own therapy, and I've only recently stopped this last sort of set of sessions. So yeah, and I've got my own supervisor. So if you're anyone who's practicing therapy should have their own supervisor who if you're in private practice you'd hire your own
Yeah.
and pay for them to listen to if you're not sure if you're working things correctly during therapy, that's where you bring it up.
Well, that's always a good idea. Absolutely. No, I agree. Yeah. I did touch on that. Don't get me wrong. I did touch on that on my level two. Um, I've just
Mhm.
got me like I don't know if I could do private work privately. I've got so many like things which like
Yeah,
it's
you're morally against it, aren't you, from what you've told me,
a
really?
little
That
bit, but there is other contributing factors like I have no money to fucking start with to build a clientele. I don't have a space to run therapy sessions. Yes, I know you can obviously probably rent
Mhm.
spaces, but it's having the money to rent spaces. Um,
Mhm. You could do it online,
I suppose yeah,
which
I could do. Yeah, no, that's not a bad idea. That actually, you're onto something. There we go. But it's like if I had the money, I've always said this to my boyfriend. If we had the money, when we buy a house, I'd have an extension put on.
yeah,
Just like
yeah,
for
a
like a
garden
room.
room.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what I would
I
do.
I work from it's called a garden room. It's exactly what it sounds like, a room in the garden. and it's at my parents' house. Actually, it's not my own. I live in a flat, so but yeah, that's where I run it from. And it's a good. It works well. It works all right.
Well, that's good, isn't it? Like, long as it's quiet and private, that's all you really can ask for, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but I get what you mean about there is a bit of outlay. There's not as much monetary outlay to set up as you would think. I would say. Because to like, so for example, to set up your own business as a sole trader doesn't cost you any money to do that. You don't need to like file it at a company's house or anything like that. But it is, yeah, essentially like advertising and stuff like that is the outlay to start with.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And
That
ongoing.
makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Guys in the chat, would you let me be your therapist, guys? How many have I actually already been a therapist for you in the chat for free? Um, so, do you think therapy culture has made people more self-aware or more self-absorbed?
Well, first of all, what do you mean by therapy culture? Do you mean like being more open about having therapy or that sort of thing?
Yeah, kind of like a mixture, because more people are open about it now on like social media and stuff. Because I think what I've found, I don't know about you, is that how do I word this? Because I saw this and I was like in agreement. Let me try and word this correctly. I think how do I put it? You know when you've just got to tread carefully, haven't you? And you're like,
You're trying to think of an inoffensive way of getting your point across.
I'm like, is that an inside thought
like...
that ever needs to be out? I'm like, I think sometimes buzzwords, words that are used in psychology, are often used by people that don't actually know what they mean. Like, I've heard people say Darvo, and I'm like, that is not happening right now. Like, someone accused me of Darvo, and I was like, mate, one, you're not qualified to be saying that. Two, I'm not shifting blame on anyone. I've taken accountability. Do you know what I mean? I'm like...
Remind me what it stands for. It ends with reverse victim and offender. It's deflect,
accuse,
something...
is it? Something like that.
Oh, it could be attack, reverse victim and offender. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So it's like changing yourself from the villain to the victim in the story and switching the roles. Yeah. Okay, I get it. So okay. Yeah. So this is like, and I kind of agree that there is a whole subset of like therapy speak or just psychological speak that's entered modern parlance, and it's lost its meaning along the way. So I was on the phone with someone at one point. It was in like a support group that I was in with, and she was saying blah blah blah, and she said, and my partner is a narcissist. And then a few minutes later, she says, and my mum's a narcissist. And then a minute later, she says, and my therapist is a narcissist. And I sort of said, it reminds me of a line in a movie that I saw once, and I was like, that seems statistically unlikely. Like, and I said to her, are you sure that you're just like surrounded by all these narcissists? Because it doesn't seem that likely that everyone would be.
It's almost like you're the problem.
Yeah, not even that. It's just that she's decided to blame everyone. She could be surrounded by awful people. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're all narcissists. No. To me, if someone is a narcissist, that essentially says that you're saying that they've got NPD.
Right. Exactly.
It's like less. It's less than 1% of the population that's got narcissistic personality disorder. Yeah. It's a tiny, like, or has been diagnosed, or is, whatever, estimated. That's the point I'm saying. You can't. Not everyone here is going around. Not everyone is an empath who is surrounded by narcissists. I hate to say that, but like, not every. Sometimes you got to just take a step back and sort of go, do I need to take accountability here? Is there something? Is there something else?
So we've got some comments on here. Let me just check these. Hello, Opal. How are you doing today? This evening? Someone put Mary. This is the first time chatter as well. Hey, friend. I'm in the pickup line fixing to pick up my kiddos, but wanted to stop in and show some love and support. Have an amazing stream. Thank you very much. Appreciate all the love. if you think someone would enjoy watching this stream, give it a share, please. And we will carry on. Let me move my questions over here. Bloody hell, that's bright on my screen. Is there... What's a red... I mean, I could answer this as well with you, but what's a red flag in a therapist that people should watch out for?
Okay. Okay, it's a therapist who talks too much, actually. And I know I'm talking a lot in this, but we're not in a therapy session. Yeah, we're not in. I'm not giving you therapy now. You're not giving me therapy. No. I was taught back in training. I say back in training, that it's supposed to be 80%. Let's just talk this on my level 3. It's supposed to be 80% the client talking and 20% the therapist talking. And I kind of took that to heart a bit. Like a lot of the time in your very first session, you'll get. They might have been waiting. Pardon me. Sorry, I'm burping a lot. A lot of the time you'll get in your very first session, you'll get a client coming in and they'll just give you everything. They'll just like spill it all out. And by the end they'll be going, I'm sorry if I talk too much. I'm like, well, no, you're supposed to be the one talking. It's not.
Yeah.
It's about you, the session. Yeah. So I think that's one. I think maybe, and this doesn't just go for therapists, but maybe when you're seeing, maybe if you know someone who happens to be a therapist, unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
Advice that you didn't ask for.
Or talking about clients, I've had people come to me that are like qualified therapists and stuff, and they're like, "Oh well, I've got this client with OCD, and I'm looking. What do you think, Izzy?" And I'm like, "You shouldn't be talking to me like that about your clients. Like that's
you've just breached confidentiality." Yeah. That is a big one, actually. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I would think you could talk in very, very general terms about something. Like I'm in a Facebook group, and I said something along the line. I can't remember what it was. I'd like some resources to help with, and it was about a specific presentation because I work for I do some work for a rehab. So it was about a parent of someone, and I was just wondering if there's any reading that can help with that. But that could be anyone, you know.
Exactly. You're not going into detail about a client. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you work for a rehab, you're going to get that. So it's not. They're not the only person. But yeah, maybe they'll hear this and go, "I want to cancel my sessions with him."
No, look,
I doubt.
If anyone's in Manny, get some therapy by this gentleman. I'm not in Manny. I'm about an hour away. So.
Where actually are you based?
South Yorkshire.
Oh, South Yorkshire, near like Skipton,
Sheffield,
sort of,
like near
Sheffield. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I do go to like Manchester sometimes for like events or anything like that. Or I was there back in August to see some friends from abroad, from Saudi and Greece and stuff. So it's usually like our meeting point.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought you had like I used to live in Leeds for a bit, and I thought you had like I thought some vaguely familiar accent.
I did live in West Yorkshire at one point, a few years ago. South Yorkshire's better though. Sorry. Is there such thing as too much therapy?
I think when you've had enough therapy, you'll know. Usually. That's as much as I can think of on that one, really, to be honest with you. I think, maybe like, it's funny because, I've got quite, I'll talk with my mum about a lot of stuff. And at one point she went through a phase of sort of saying she thinks that therapy, like, is counterproductive. Like, it brings up things that you might not otherwise have brought up. And sometimes people get worse before they get better, which is a cliche. I'm not sure whether it's always true that people... I think it's not always true that people get worse before they get better, but I think sometimes it does happen. So you won't always see the evidence straight away that you're getting better, and it can scare people off if they've brought stuff up and they're like, I've actually felt all these emotions that I wasn't going to, and they might just not come back, which happens. That's just rejection that I've got to have to learn to deal with.
Some people can't handle it though, can they? Do you know what I mean? It's an hard one, but it's not on you that though. At the end of the day, I mean, I understand it must be a little bit hard at times not to take it personally when it's your work, but at the end of the day, it's not a you problem though, is it? So
Maybe they'll find another therapist that's better for them. I can't be the best therapist for everyone. I can just be the best therapist that I can be for my clients, and that's it, really.
exactly.
That's all I can do.
Well, that's it, isn't it? So what was I going to say? Because I know recently, you don't have to comment on this, but I've seen there's been a whole thing on TikTok where there's this woman that's fallen in love with a therapist. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Bad, full
Okay.
on. So I'll talk about, because obviously I don't want you to get into any bother or all like that, but I can talk about it because I'm not qualified yet. So there's this woman, and other people in chat might know this. She fell in love with her therapist, she must be having delusions. It's got to be like some form of delusions, because she would like post TikToks about it. Like her profile is up there. I can't remember her name actually, but she'd be like, "Well, I've gone to see my therapist today, and well, he pointed out that must mean he loves me," and so because obviously he like said like, "Hey, you're breaching conduct here. I have no interest in you like this.
Mm-hmm.
I think she reported him.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, oh
What
yeah.
did she say he'd done?
I don't know if it were harassment. I'd have to look it up. If I find something, I'll send it you privately.
Okay.
But it were bad, and I think she's still on a tirade even now, because I think he's had to like leave his job and stuff because he was. I think she was like essentially stalking him, but she was in the full belief, and this woman had a boyfriend as well, and being in love with
Right.
his therapist. Yeah, in the full belief that
Mm.
she was meant to be with this man. I'm like, she needs a psych evaluation. I'm telling you now, that is some next level obsession. Obviously, I know you're taught, aren't you, to deal with breach of like boundaries and stuff like that. I know I've learned some stuff on that, but that's
Yeah, and I've even put up. I think you mentioned to me when I posted a video on it that it is not uncommon for it to happen.
yeah,
That I've had it. I've had it when I was a client. I've had a crush. Like, I'm a gay man, and I've had crushes on my female therapists.
yeah,
So it's like it
yeah,
kind of goes to show that it's the situation
yeah,
that sometimes engenders that.
yeah,
Like you might feel like that there could be there are people out there who don't feel that they can talk openly and honestly and in depth about really emotional stuff, and the therapist is the only person they've got, so people get confused about stuff like that, or, the attachment starts to like kind of get confused. But
our
yeah, it's
brain
happened.
does silly things, doesn't it? Really, can do. Now I get what you mean. I mean, I've luckily, thankfully, never like had like a crush on a therapist or a counselor. Don't get me wrong. I've had like I have had some form of attachment in the past, but not like in a crush way. It's more
Hmm.
I can't lose this person because they're helping me in the sense,
Yeah.
I've had that a little bit. I mean, like literally, the office, like they called me earlier today, and they were like, "Can we reschedule you because your therapist, I can't, Joanna, I think she's called, was I can't fucking remember her name, because she's got to reschedule, she can't make it." And I'm like, at first, because I was like, is she letting me go as a client? I was like, and then she was like,
Oh
"No,
no.
just need to rebook it." I was like, "Oh." I was like, "All right." I was like,
Okay.
"Thank fuck for that," because I was like, "Am I that bad?"
I was
No,
sitting here thinking, you can't care about her that much. You don't remember her name.
I know. I know it's bad to do.
Shout out to Joanna if that's your real name.
I know my old therapist though. She were mint. The one that gave me exposure therapy for OCD, right? Katrina, big up
Hmm.
her. She was a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
good therapist under the NHS. That's probably one of the. I mean, the current one seems pretty nice as well, but I've only had like 3 sessions with her, so I can't really speak
yeah,
on that. But that one woman that I had with in the NHS for that specific thing, she were fantastic. She were
yeah.
she were bless her
I, s-
heart.
I sometimes think it's a bit like having a good teacher. You'll always remember a really good one.
Yeah,
You will then always remember, if you've spent any decent amount of time,
yeah.
because that makes an impression on your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Absolutely. Um, do you think some people actually use therapy as a way to avoid accountability?
we've kind of gone into this a little bit, haven't we? I
Yeah.
think maybe maybe therapy education in the wrong hands could
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Mm.
I think like people are going to like I was really angry at someone once, and and I said, but it just meant that I had a bigger vocabulary to say the same thing that I would have said anyway. You know, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, like I was pissed off with someone, like in a in a social situation with someone. I was like, you've made me feel invalidated, and this and that, and all that. When I might not have, I mean, I knew what the word invalidated meant, but I might not have used it in day-to-day conversation if I hadn't been exposed to it so much. But yeah, possibly. Some people could.
I think it depends
I
what therapists say to them. Because, like, I don't know about
mm,
you, but, like, from an outsider in, I know some people that would have made, let's say, morally questionable decisions, right?
right.
We'll say, right? And you hear things about them, and apparently they'd be in, like, active therapy, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is this therapist telling you then that you think that this behaviour is justifiable? Like, I understand obviously to an extent, depending on what it is. Obviously, you validate them. You know, you're gonna get them comfortable. You're gonna validate them. But at what point do we draw the line and we're like, nah, mate, that's shitty behaviour. That like,
Yeah. Well, you have to. And it doesn't, and you don't know what these people have told their therapists either. They might have said like a different
yeah, they
version
could
of
be
the story that
lying.
makes them seem like the good guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's very, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story sometimes. But yeah, if you're gonna lie to your therapist, you're not doing yourself any favors, really.
Because they can see through it
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I mean, even if they do believe you, you're not doing the self development if you're
No,
lying to them.
no, it's pointless you
So
being there.
yeah, you could be wasting money or your
Yeah.
time or both.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How do you handle a client who clearly doesn't want to change?
Um, I have had basically I well first of all, like, who am I to decide
Yeah.
that they don't want to change? Maybe they are taking longer than I expect them to take or would hope that they would take, and I've got to just accept
Yeah.
that it might take them longer, and that I they can't run on my timetable. They've got their own. Um, but sometimes I've had several cancellations kind of in a row. You know, I looked back and it was supposed to be 8 sessions. We'd only done about 3, and I brought it up with them and I said, "Look, are you ready for therapy? Because it doesn't seem like you are,
Yeah.
more or less."
That's all you can
Um,
say, I suppose, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Like, why waste their own time and mine?
Yeah.
If it's not work. If you see someone, if you don't see someone, I personally think that therapy should be to start with every week, and then you can go down to maybe every other week.
Yeah.
But you need to build that relationship, and if you're not even doing that, then you're not going to get the benefit out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the unwillingness thing. I mean, some would argue that simply by showing up for therapy and booking you to start with, that's evidence that they want to change.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. A good point.
So it could be in there somewhere.
Yeah. So, what's your take on like trauma dumping online? Is it a healthy like form of expression? I mean, I don't like saying that it says attention seeking on here, but you know, can it be essentially unhealthy at times?
I mean, you know, I'm old. Well, I'm 42, and I kind of remember a time when the internet was a lot more of a bit of a wild west, where anything you'd go on, we didn't have like pre-Facebook. We had like little um, notice boards type places that people would go instead, and people say all sorts of god awful shit to each other.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's just, it depends where you draw the line, really, doesn't it? I mean, as long as you're not putting yourself in danger,
Yeah.
I don't know what I suppose I would question, what are people hoping to achieve by trauma dumping online? So I'm quite, yeah. So I mean, if you take like my TikTok, Instagram, whatever, I'm quite open and honest about. I think it's my most recent one. Oh no, I haven't posted it yet, but there is one about I got diagnosed with ADHD when I was in about 2017
Mm.
and stuff like that. And I'm open and honest about that. But I'm like, well, if other people know that there are even therapists out there who've got
Yeah.
it, and they sort of think to themselves, maybe it's been holding me back. You can sort of say, well, yeah, but he's using his experience to help other people. So
Yeah.
there's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's. I think on the whole, the kind of conversations that we're having that are being more honest about mental health. It's almost a cliche to say stuff like this, but
Yeah.
we're having the conversation. It's starting the conversation and stuff like that.
Hmm.
At least people know that they're not alone. You know,
Yeah.
at least people know that they might never meet someone in real life that, as far as they're aware, has the same experiences. But if you see someone online, it's maybe the next best thing. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think at the end of the day, it's each to their own. You know, it's their
Mm.
autonomy. If they want to post it and they're in sound mind, or to at least post it, then go for it. I have, because I've got like I can't speak. I've got two TikTok accounts. So obviously I have my podcast
Hmm.
one, and I have a BPD one. It's called Izzy, Izzy the Instability. Um,
Okay.
so and I do post a lot more like BPD stuff or like daily stuff, experiences, how I got diagnosed, um, how I cope with it. Talk about you know therapy a little bit, just to help people again, like be relating. And I
Mm.
posted a video, and I was a bit upset and stuff, and obviously you get like some comments that are like, "Why are you posting this?
Mm.
You clicked post on that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did, and I'll do it again."
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
like, all
That
right,
makes you more want to do it, doesn't it,
yeah,
sometimes?
yeah,
Just be
like,
defiant about it.
yeah. So stuff what people think. Do what makes you happy at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think like I've seen things like I mean, I feel like I should stop going on Facebook, for example, but the number of times I've seen people go on a massive rant about some other random ass person,
Mm.
I'm just like, okay, well, at least I'm getting all the tea here. But like,
Touch
it just
grass.
sometimes, yeah, yeah, all the drama, all the drama. But it just sometimes seem a little bit like, why does the world need to know that? Yeah, sometimes it can feel a bit like, where's your sense of,
Privacy.
yeah, of almost like I don't want to say where's your sense of shame. That sounds fucking awful, doesn't it? But where's your sense of like wanting to?
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know. Where's
Pride. What's your sense of
pride?
pride?
Yeah, where's your sense of pride? Where's your what are you achieving by doing this?
Mm.
I suppose is really what I'm trying to say here.
But it's like I had
Ca-
someone message me. Sorry to interrupt you. Just to add to the tea of this, someone messaged me earlier. I mean, they blocked me now. I'm not going to obviously reveal names anyway. Again,
Mm,
acting like I'm a therapist or something because they messaged me and they're like, "Hiya, sorry," and I don't know who this is, by the way. And they messaged me and they went, "Hi, sorry, I've been quiet. Um, I've been I've been talking to this man on the internet, but I think he might be
mm,
married. Please don't judge me." And I'm like, "Oh, are you?"
right.
Well, like, I mean, I am gonna judge you a little bit, hon. You're having it off with a married man, mate. Who? And then she was like, she blocked me because I'm gonna be straight up like, do you think that's morally correct, mate? Like,
Yeah.
and she didn't like that, and she blocked me. And I think the thing is, I think she has BPD as well. And I'm like, that's not an excuse. You know
Well.
the
Mm,
choices you're making when it comes to things like that. Yes, we can be impulsive, irrational, but you know what you're doing like that though. Don't let
it's not a
anyone
get out of jail free card.
no,
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
Yeah. It's like yeah. There is a case of like we've touched on it already.
Mm,
Sometimes there are disorders and stuff like that, and people use them as a bit of a like. There are
mm,
genuine struggles that people go through, but it
mm,
doesn't mean that we can't learn. It doesn't mean that we can't try and
mm.
just not be a dick.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like
agree. Yeah. Is overdiagnosis real or is it just a TikTok talking point?
yeah. I don't think people are being overdiagnosed.
No, I agree
I
with
think it's just
you.
no. I think it's just a case of all this time everyone's been underdiagnosed.
Mm,
And there's a lot more out there than like if you go back generations, like you've heard like the sort of you've probably heard the cliche of people going like, oh, you know, we didn't have autism back in my day, and I'm like, are you sure that your dad, who had a basement with trains in it and never left that, and you couldn't speak to him between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. because that was his train time, are you sure that he was neurotypical? You know, it's stuff like that, isn't it? People just didn't people were just like quirky, or you know, they just
Yeah.
wrote it off. You know, and like I think maybe there are a lot of people seeking a diagnosis that might not
Yeah.
actually have something, or I always think this might be a bit of a rug pull. If you go seeking a diagnosis of one thing, and it's actually something else,
Yeah.
because I went to my GP, who has known me since I was a child. Shout out Dr. Clark, and and I said, look, I think I've got ADHD. Like I looked up, I before I looked up the symptoms, I didn't have a clue what it was, to be honest with you. I didn't think like had no idea what the effects were. I thought it was just hyperactive kids. Anyway, in a moment of madness, I looked up the symptoms, and I'm like, I think I actually tick more or less all the boxes of this. You know, I must have it. Went to my GP, and I shit you not, she showed me a PowerPoint presentation of ADHD and borderline personality disorder and what all the similarities were, and she was like, "So do you think it might be borderline personality?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know now."
Yeah. They can overlap for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, turns out it's most probably ADHD. Well, the tablets help anyway, and yeah, that's the treatment path I went down, and it seems to be going okay.
Well, that's it then. So someone's put a comment actually in to ask you. They've put, "I want to know his opinion on medication for different age groups."
That's a really broad question, and I am not a doctor.
Yeah.
So, are we talking about specific? First of all, what kind of medication, who's it for, and that sort of thing. But I think what they're getting at is for kids, really.
Yeah, I'm assuming probably. Yeah.
Yeah. I think. I mean, yeah. I'm not a doctor. I'm not
Not
an
a
expert.
pediatrician. Just say you're not a
I'm
pediatrician.
not exactly. I'm not a
Yeah.
pediatrician. But what I will say is the way that I believe the way that the law works is it 13 or 14 years old, someone can consent to their own medical treatment.
I think it depends what it's for, honestly.
Right. I
Um,
think it's 14, and I think mental health can happen at any age. It can. You know, that's a fact that I know, you know, and I think maybe people often think, you know, let kids be kids and don't let them get bogged down with mental health stuff. But what if life is so bad that they're not really living your
living.
typical kid's life to start with? Yeah. So yeah, long story short, I don't have strong opinions on that because I'm not an expert. But
You'd see a
yeah,
psychologist for that though, wouldn't you? Anyway.
clinical psych. Yeah, any
Yeah.
your GP can help you with that, or a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist with that sort of stuff, depending on. I don't want
They
to say depending on how severe it is, depending on where you go in the process.
they've put back. That's fair. I'm more so wondering if you think it's acceptable because I've encountered therapists who refuse referrals because of their patient being a minor.
Oh well, that's because they've not had the right training and they're not. Uh, so so I can be a therapist for people 16 years and older because at 16 it's close enough to adulthood that normal therapy would work the same way, but therapy for children is
Yeah.
different. There are specific qualifications for children and young people CYP
Adolescence and that,
therapy.
isn't it? Mental
Yeah,
health. Yeah.
yeah, and that's probably why they were referred on or told or it sounds like they were actually applying for it, that they were told that they can't be a therapist for their kid. So that's probably the reason why, because they're an adult therapist, much like there are pediatricians, and as opposed to other doctors as well.
Yeah. Very true. Um. How do you feel about therapists making mental health content on social media? Do you wanna
Hey, here I am. Making that. Would you class it as mental health content? I don't know. I mean, it's essentially, in the broadest sense, it's kind of marketing for
Yeah,
me, which
yeah.
sounds awful, but you know, that's what it is. That one wouldn't be doing
Well,
it
it's what I'm
otherwise.
like. This is what it's like for me, though. Do you know, like on here
This
doing
what,
this. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Cards on the table. You know, I mean, there is kind of the sense of I could have found a different and avenue for marketing if I wanted to. I could start a Facebook page and just post written content, but maybe I'm a bit of an attention seeker. I like to get my face out there. I don't know. Um, Look, at the end of the day, yeah, I can't say it's a bad thing because I'm
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah.
Um, and well, an idea that I essentially stole from another therapist on social media. If you see a load of content from a therapist and it's a load of videos just talking about whatever, you're going to know more about that therapist before you contact them than if you have just seen their website, just seen them on a directory, whatever, just some faceless words, because you don't know what their personality is going to be like, and that relationship between therapist and client is supposed to be about 40 to 50% of the therapeutic movement that people make. So you can kind of feel someone out and get an idea of what they're all about
It's
through that.
definitely
So I think it's quite useful.
that is a good idea actually, because I think oftentimes when you start therapy, and like especially like on the NHS, you obviously don't know who you're getting. You're
Mm,
getting what you're given, so you can have
yeah.
that initial anxiety going in there because you're like, are they going to be old? Are they going to be like old school
Yeah.
psychology? Because ooh,
Am
you
I going to be
know,
laying on a couch?
literally, you know,
Freud
like
style. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
fuck
No,
Freud.
it's
I'm sick of reading about that
well,
man.
well, we when I was doing the level 4, we were supposed to learn about 3 different types of therapy. One was humanistic, so it's person
Mistakes,
centered, which is what we're
person
doing.
centered. Yeah.
One was a behavioural, so we did CBT, and the other was we ended up doing psychodynamic.
Yeah.
And I complained like no one's business because I wanted to do transactional analysis instead. And TA is like it's just really fascinating because it's about relationships between people and the way people all act, and it's like quite accessible. I found it interesting, and a load of us did. But we had to do psychodynamic instead, and I was there going, I don't want to do it. It's all about dicks. It's crap. And yeah, I had a big, which isn't just about
No,
that,
but
but
it's crap though, isn't it? It gets a bit much, doesn't it,
it's
at times?
it just feels very outdated by
It
today's standards. I
is.
think there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that wouldn't fly these days if they were inventing a type of therapy,
Oh yeah,
which is why they've
absolutely.
invented other types.
Amen. Amen. Someone put what do you we kind of already covered this actually. Barbie Jesus, it's the name of the person that's commented, but
Okay, hi Bobby Jesus.
they're actually, I think they're in Manchester actually, but what do you think about coaches? Do therapy and coaching both have a place?
No, you know what? As we've said, therapy is not a regulated industry, and that's a whole other problem. Neither is coaching. But I think they kind of, I am a believer in the right tool for the right job, you know? If you've not got kind of, yeah, I think coaching can have its place, actually. There are people who like aren't motivated and just need a bit more of a prod. And I would imagine that there's a lot that there are certain modalities of therapy that have loads of overlap with coaching because
Yeah,
there's
there will
thousands of
be.
modalities,
Yeah.
like acceptance and commitment therapy, for example, like is probably quite close to coaching compared to some other stuff. And in fact, I went on like a 2-day course like ages back because I was like, I might become a life coach, and then I ran the numbers when they said how many jobs there were and stuff like that. And I'm like, nope. But anyway, yeah, there is. I think that they've taken quite a few things from certain types of therapy and just repackaged it and
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, it is what it is. You
Yeah.
know, if it works for you, it works for you. Great, give it a go. If it works for you, if you think it'll work for you, the only thing you're going to lose is your time and your money.
Yeah. That's it.
It's probably not going to be damaging.
Is that answer suffice to you, Barbie Jesus? They put, I joined late. Sorry, it's no problem. I wasn't having a go or anything. Um, when does venting become toxic? Do you think it can be toxic? I think it.
Are
If
we
you
talking online or in person or
any
with your
either
friends and
or,
stuff?
I mean either or, whatever
Mm.
example you want to use.
Okay, well, I'm going to give relationships in real life I'm going to base it around that. I think if you've got certain, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've got my venting friends.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of friends who I can tell them anything. And honestly, I mean, she's not a friend, but my mum, I could tell her more or less anything, unless she's the one who's pissed me off. Well, that's all of the story. But anyway,
Next
yeah,
episode.
yeah, exactly. Like, I never want to be in a situation where I've got a friend and I feel like I am their therapist. You know,
Yeah.
if you're the kind of friend who can vent to someone, they should be able to vent to you as
Yeah.
well. You know that, and you don't really want to be in the kind of relationship where venting is all that happens because it brings down the other person.
Yeah.
You know, like if it's like constant negativity and you're using that person to get out all your negativity, then you're kind of an emotional vampire. Like it's not on. But yeah, I think yeah, every relationship can be different, and just know where the limits are. If your friend can take it, if they can't take it, they'll probably let you know eventually, or you'll stop hearing from them. They'll start making excuses and not want to see you anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
Or if you're like me, I just tell it to your face. Um,
that's exactly yeah,
it gets too much.
they will tell.
I had a friend
Yeah,
like that, and she was like 35 actually, so a bit older than me, but she was so like, how do I put it? I don't know how to put it. I felt like I was babying her. Like I felt like I was her mother, and I'm like, get it together, girl. Like I'm a lot younger than you. What are we like? I'd try and help her. I'd give her, because she'd very, very low self-esteem. So I'm like, right, how can I help you with this? Like, even though I'm just a
yeah,
friend, what can I do? So I'd give her like self-help books, books around like feminism and stuff like that that helped me. I said, hey, you can self-refer to mental health services. If you're
yeah.
struggling with that, maybe go check on your medication, get a review. And she's the type of person that would complain but do
Hmm.
nothing about it, and then just keep
Oh
on
yeah.
putting themselves in shit situations. And honestly, I got fed up on it. I'm like, I'm done here. I can't do
She
this
didn't want the
anymore.
help. She just wanted to complain.
Yeah.
She was in the bad situation. She just wanted to complain.
Yeah.
And if you got a friend who knows that that's what it is, that they're just complaining and don't want help, that they just want to get it out, and they're okay with that, then they're okay with that. But you weren't in that situation, you know. What I will say as well is I think it's a bit of a neurodivergent thing a bit of a neurodivergent love language to kind of go, I'm going to like be a bit of a secretary for you now and try and give you
Yeah.
pointers and stuff to
Yeah.
try and help you and stuff like. It's a bit like
Yeah.
pebbling, isn't it? Like where
Yeah.
you like give someone a book that's going to help. It's like I've researched this for you, and what we can do is
Yeah.
like I'll help you sort your life out. Mine's a mess, but let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
And
But you.
but you, I
Yeah.
could life coach you.
Literally, I'm like that with a lot of my friends. Like, to be fair, I'm like, let's not talk about the shit I'm going through right now, but let's
Yeah, yeah,
focus
yeah.
on you and
It
your relationship.
makes me feel better to help you, and that's me being useful.
Yeah, literally. Amen to that. I agree. Yeah, I'm like that. What I'm gonna do, because I haven't done it in ages, and I keep forgetting on my podcast, I have like a little advertisement. I like to help small businesses out. I only put it on for like a minute or so. It's just a good friend who's actually on my server. If you are watching, Kizza, I don't know. I'm going to show your ad. He's just brought a book out. He writes like spicy novels and things. So I will try and figure this out because I haven't done this in time. So our screen will go off and it'll be the ad. There we go. And it should just be my mic, I do believe. Let me check. Yeah, that's working. This is KD Lavender's books that have been the one on the left I do believe has been released. He got some copies sent today actually. But if you like your spicy books, give them a try. Yeah. I don't know what else more to say about that. There we go. Yeah.
That's it.
There we go. Right. Thank you. I always try and help small businesses because at the end of the day,
Of course.
they help me, I help them. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you scratch my back, I scratch yours. So that's what, yeah. So Anyway,
We've got
sorry.
to support small businesses.
That's it. In this economy, we freaking do. That's for sure. Um, how can people tell if they're trauma bonded or genuinely in love? Because that's a question I
I
do hear a lot from people.
I saw this. Why is everyone asking you these questions? She gets onto the level on the level 3, and everyone thinks she's an expert. Um, uh,
I know.
uh, how could it? You know what? That sounds like a very specific question, and it did make me wonder where does it come from. But you know how trauma bond is another one of those phrases that's kind of entered the lexicon, and I actually thought to myself, are people using the term right? So I looked it up just
Yep.
in case,
Yep.
and I would say if you are in a relationship and it always feels exciting in some way,
Yeah.
like there's either a big thing that you're excited about, or there's a lot of stress and argument, which is a different form of excitement, then it might be leaning towards the trauma bond thing. But without knowing someone's relationship, I can't just sit there and here and make a
Yeah.
judgment and make a blanket statement. There are some people where both partners thrive on a certain type of excitement and they're very successful, but studies have shown those that on average those relationships don't last as long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember reading a thing about dating that said that's something about when you're starting to date, like if you're not sure whether a date is going to work out, give them 2 dates, not one, because if you're a bit bored, it might be just a one-off.
Yeah.
If you're too excited, then yeah, maybe it's calling to something in your past that it's like, oh, this is bad for me, but I actually kind of like that little bit of danger to my mental health, which could not be healthy. But yeah, I'm not an expert on that one, but I hope that was a good enough
No,
answer
that was
for you.
fine. Do you know what? I mostly see that kind of question actually on a lot of the BPD spaces I'm in, especially Facebook groups.
Hmm.
You know, I'll see a lot of posts being like, "Hey, can someone help me with the difference? Because I'm not sure if I'm in this situation." Not me, like they don't ask me specifically, but I do see that being
Yeah,
asked a lot. I don't answer it because I'm no expert either on it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and be like,
yeah,
"Hey, I know this." I don't. I think it's a very, very complex thing because I think it can get mixed up with people having childhood traumas as couples, like they've had their own trauma
hmm,
and they've come into a relationship, and some people may get that mixed up for a trauma bond when obviously it's not. You just deal with things in a certain way because that's how you've learned to cope with it. I've had that in my relationships and stuff. Some people are avoidant, some people are obviously attachment.
mm,
And I think sometimes people think that that is trauma bonding when obviously it's not. But often people sometimes think that is, and there's that crossover, I think.
yeah. I mean, like when I had read this, I had meant to say yeah, look into attachment theory, and that will probably give you some of the answers. But again, I'm not an expert on attachment theory. I know a little bit about it. I literally watched a 20-minute YouTube video or something like that, and you would probably think that I might know more than that, but as it turns out, it wasn't in the training. And I kind of shy at the thing. I shy a little bit away from pop psychology because I sometimes think I don't know, it gets misinterpreted and stuff like that. And how useful is it for me to really know? Maybe I'm a bit of a snob with that sort of thing. I'd rather get it from sources that I know to be uh, credible.
Yeah. No, that's valid. Yeah, that makes sense. That for sure. Yeah,
Which there's plenty of stuff out there. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, no, you're okay. You're fine. No, I agree with you on that for sure. Thing is, obviously, when you're in education, it only covers so much as well, anyway. So it's like I'd love to specialize in personality disorders.
Yeah, yeah,
But I mean, as of now, at least in my level 3, I've not touched on personality
yeah,
disorders.
and you won't. Well, no, I say you won't. I when I did your level 3,
Yeah.
I would doubt that you would go into it in the level 3. Your level 4 might be different to my level 4, or foundation degree, whatever you do. Um, but yeah, we we barely touched on
Yeah.
personality disorders. We didn't go into it, and probably because it's considered to be complex stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, the stuff that I've learnt about, about borderline personality disorder in particular, I learnt since, like I told you,
Yeah.
when I saw that doctor that time, and I'm like, oh, okay, learn a bit more about that.
Mm.
I wouldn't know, like, what makes someone. I know what the word narcissistic means, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to sit down and tell you all the symptoms of narcissism. But yeah, have you looked up what CPD there is out there, what continuing professional development there is? Because that's a bit of a
Yeah.
wild west as well, you know.
Yeah.
That it's just like,
Yeah.
how do I know it's going to be good training?
That's it. In it, once you're not in like education in like mainstream and stuff, it's what can you trust that's going to be legitimately useful. And no, it is. It's like, oh, and I'd love to specialize in it because again, there isn't that care because a lot of people are
Yeah.
just not qualified in it. Like they're not, which is no, it's not. I'm not shitting on them because at the end of the day, you learn what you learn, and you get what you're
Yeah.
given with that. You know, but I do think there is a gap there that really could be
Hmm.
filled because there's that many people diagnosed with BPD. You know, so but anyway, so what do you wish every client knew before starting therapy?
We've kind of touched on this already. I'm not going to fix your problems for you.
Yeah,
There's that one.
yeah,
There's that one. Don't come to me and expect me to lay out the answers for you because that's not what therapy is. I'm really sorry. Or not what my kind of therapy is anyway. Maybe there is something that's closer to coaching that will sit there and give you homework, but I'm not going to do that. Um, and also, like, I don't expect what I would say as well is if you start at kind of 10% mental health and you end up at kind of 60% mental health by the end, take that as a win, I would
yeah,
say,
yeah,
because there are some people that are just never going to be 100%,
yeah.
and that's okay. You're going to have to just live with that, or find your coping. I use that term, coping strategies. Find your ways of dealing with
Yeah.
things. There's always going to. You could be on top of the world and think that everything's perfect, but then one shit day might make things terrible, and that's okay. It happens to the best of us.
Mine's hourly.
Hourly, rapid cycling.
It's so the BPD and can be BPD and at times. I'm telling you that.
It's
Oh, I'm like, because afterwards you're literally because I'm that self-aware now. I'm like, get it together, is it? You're a grown ass woman and you're kicking off and like upset about this. I'm like, oh
yeah.
god. I'm like this. The thing is, I was like saying yesterday, to Mason. I don't know if he's watching because I do a lot of work with him because he's got BPD as well, and he helps with the charity Living on the Borderline. I'll have to send you some more resources on that site.
Yeah.
Because I'm hoping to volunteer for them as well, actually, and help them out. But it's like you get to a certain age with like BPD, and it starts to like physically hurt your body as well. Because
Really?
when you have like splits, it's that emotionally. Oh, he's here in the chat. It's that emotionally draining. It's also physically draining. I find like when I was younger, yeah, it would hurt mentally, but physically, I'd be like, I'm on it. I'm fine. But
You
like
still had the energy.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like now I can go through like a split, and I've had to like reschedule like a podcast episode that I had on this weekend because I split for the first time in ages the other day, and I was like, I need a break. I need a minute, and the only time I get my quiet is on weekends.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't. It's kind of like burnout. It's a bit like
Yeah.
burnout, and it's
Yeah.
like I need a minute. I need it to be peaceful in my head as you can make it be. Um, but yeah, that I went off on a tangent then. Sorry about that.
It's all right. For what it's worth, I think that I've found that I need more self care as I've got older as well.
I agree
You
with
know,
that. Yeah,
like someone like I know I'm harping on about this. I've got ADHD, and some people say that you grow out of it. Nope,
no, you
feels like it's
don't.
got worse. To be honest with you, with age, to me, aside from that medication has helped, aside from
Yeah,
not even therapy, just like trying, just even looking up on the internet, like ways to get around things and stuff like that. It still can be like a daily struggle. It can be like, you know, it's just we run out of energy. Like,
Yeah.
that's just the way things are. And you've got a kid as well, haven't you? So, of course, that's going to drain
Whew. Yes,
you.
yes, I do. Oh, yes, and she's in the process. She's on the waiting list to get diagnosed with autism, but I actually think she's got autism
Hmm.
and ADHD.
Ah,
But she's like, I had my nan over just yesterday, and it's the first time she's been in like this environment with my daughter, so she doesn't obviously mask at home because that's her safe space and everything. So she's completely her, and that threw my grandmother for a new one because she's like, does she never sit still? Like, is she never still? And I'm like, no, she's never still. Is she always like
mm,
this? And I'm like, yeah, she's always like this. And I'm like, is that why you're tired all the time? I was like, yeah,
might be why. Yeah.
because she don't
Mm.
stop, but it's hard work. Like, especially when I have my own mental health going on as well. I've got to regulate
Yeah.
because obviously you're,
Yeah.
you've got to set that example. I'm trying to regulate for her because the thing is with my child, she picks up on your emotions so much. She's so like on it with that. Like,
Mm.
I was in a bit of
Mm.
a, I wouldn't say a crisis the other day, but basically, essentially, Universal Credit have been trying to fuck me over. Essentially, we'll put it that way. And I know
Right, yeah.
people in chat that know about this anyway, so it's not private. But um, so I've been like making phone calls and stuff, and I'm getting like high rate, and so then my child, she starts crying because she's
Yeah.
picked up on that. So then I have to
Yeah.
reel it in and be like,
Yeah.
I need to calm down
Yeah.
immediately. Um,
Parent mode.
yeah,
Yeah. The last thing you want to do is traumatize your own kid. Like no one
literally.
wants to do it, but yeah, yeah. You're probably more self-aware than most parents in that respect, though.
I try to be. That's why I went back to therapy myself. That's why,
Mm.
because I've never split on my daughter ever, never. But she has seen the aftermath of it, of me, you like coming round from being upset, being really drained and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want her seeing that. This is not healthy.
Yeah,
This, I'm gonna nip this in the bud while I can. Um, yeah, really. Again, I went off.
it's fine.
Is it normal to feel worse after starting therapy? I know we touched a
Yeah,
little bit on this, didn't we?
we've touched on it a bit. Is it normal? I wouldn't say it happens every time, but it does happen. Yeah, like we said, you might bring up some stuff that's been buried, some things that you hadn't been like emotionally connecting with, and it can feel a bit kind of scary, a bit intimidating at
Yeah.
first. So yeah, like in those first couple of sessions, you might sort of think, "My God, why am I doing this? What have I let myself in for?" But often it's like growing pains, isn't it? Like getting through it to become a bit more well-rounded by the end of it. So yeah, not for everyone though. Some people just feel great straight away.
Yeah. I know with me, like, more recently, I'm normally fine. I'm normally fine, actually, and handle it really well. And not that I didn't handle it well, I just got upset, right, and we touched on, like, some more, like, recent stuff that had happened in my life over, like, the last year that I know I've not healed, but I know I've not healed from it, do you know what I mean? It's like surface
Yeah.
level copium, essentially.
Hmm.
And the therapist was like, "It's still raw for you, that isn't it, love?" And I was like, yeah, there it
Right.
is." So,
Okay.
um,
Was it though? Was it still raw? Or
yeah,
were you
it
just saying
is.
that to
No,
the
it is. It's
therapist who
definitely
it
no.
was it was like
It's definitely
yeah,
traumatized me.
you
This,
had digged it up. You
yes,
had dug it up. You were in that right. Okay. The way you were saying it, I was there thinking, is she just saying that to a therapist? Like,
but
but you know what I mean.
yeah, but
Sorry if that threw you a bit.
no. She no, I just have to think in it. It's no, it's still sour there. The wound, if you want to say, the wound is still
Yeah, yeah,
open. I am getting through it
yeah.
and stuff, and it's
Hmm.
got times a healer and things as well. But people think things don't affect them when they absolutely can affect them. Yeah, but we
And
get through it.
yeah, um,
So
yeah, I get what you mean. And sometimes you'd be surprised at the things that are those pain points,
yeah,
like what they are. like things that on the outside of on the outside of it might seem so minor to someone
Yeah.
else. Like I've mentioned about I'm not good with rejection
Yeah.
myself. So like setting up my own business where someone could reject me at any moment in time is a really kind of brave thing to do, to be honest with you. But I've been rejected by friends, by friend groups, been left out of what I thought was like my main friend group and stuff like that. And like you talk about this to a friend, to someone else, and you think that should not be affecting you. Like grow up,
Yeah.
like um, but there are certain things. Everyone's got their own pain points that might look completely different to someone else's.
I agree. No, I'd say you just threw me because I'm like I've got a therapist asking me questions. When it's like roles reverse, I'm like, oh,
Oh,
in it like, oh,
not right. Yeah.
like not
Sorry
good
about that.
stuff.
Yeah.
No,
Well, it would be boring if it was just you interviewing me, wasn't it?
that's true. Nah, it's
You
fine.
don't want just that. You don't want to hear my voice all the time. I'd like to learn about you as well. So there we go.
80%, 30%.
80, oh yeah, 80, well, 80/20, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've covered a lot of these at the bottom now, actually.
Mhm.
Oh, well, this one's a good one, actually. If you don't mind, I would like to ask you this. So, have you ever disagreed with a client's diagnosis that they've
But I
got
had
and
to
they've
go
come to
along.
you? Yeah, like,
Um, what I have had once is a client who had not been diagnosed with anything, and I said to him, "I think you should get tested for ADHD," which completely, honestly, that's not therapy. That's not what I should be.
yeah,
Some might argue that that's not what I should be doing. I haven't said you've got
yeah,
ADHD. I've said I think you should go and get tested for this because I've got it and I can see so many similarities in you that it might be worth it. Because he was going through, he wasn't in there. He was going through something else, which statistically a lot of people also have. It overlaps a lot with ADHD. So I've had that. I don't think what I have had before is someone telling me that they've had diagnosis, and this is going to sound a bit strange, but because I was taught person-centered therapy, because I was taught one thing that has remained in my mind is that Carl Rogers, who invented
yep,
person-centered,
yep,
he it's not that he doesn't believe in diagnosis. He thinks that they can sometimes get in the way of the actual therapy.
yes, yeah. I know what you mean.
You
I know who
just
you mean.
treat
Yeah, I've
you just
studied
treat
it.
the person
Yeah,
as the person, and like
yes,
at the end of the day, if you've ever seen those, I'm sure you've seen them, the core 10, the PHQ, and
yes,
the GAD, and all that. It's just it could be on the day if you
yeah,
if you have the
yeah,
right set of numbers to actually be diagnosed or to not be diagnosed,
yeah,
and like I say, I was diagnosed at one point with I think depression and anxiety. I think that if I had to take that test today, I'd probably not be classed as having it. But does that make one more true than the other? Should I still be classed? Anyway, yeah. So no, in short, no, I've not. I'm not sat there and gone. I think you've not got in insert name of diagnosis. But by the same token, I've not made it the main focus of our sessions
yeah,
because, like, if someone had said to me, and sometimes they'll say it in a way like I've got depression, and they'll say it as though the world is falling apart because they've had a diagnosis,
yeah,
and I have to sort of, and it's a big and vague statement to make, so I can't really go anywhere with,
yeah,
hi, I've got depression. I'm like, okay, well, what is going on then? You know, you're going to have to tell me more about just I've got depression because
yeah.
we,
Give me
it's
something to
not
go on.
workable on if, yeah, it's not workable on if you don't tell me
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
Why are you depressed? What's going on? This and
yeah,
that. So yeah, so I haven't ever not believed someone.
yeah. We've got someone put in the chat. I wouldn't have gotten my autism diagnosis if my therapist hadn't asked me if I had it, as in,
Yeah,
I wouldn't have started exploring it. Obviously, like the therapist didn't diagnose them. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, like with me, when I got treatment for OCD, I thought I initially had postpartum anxiety. Went in,
Yeah.
just thinking I was just gonna get like talking therapies, whatever. I mean, obviously it's still under. Is it under CBT? It's under that category, isn't it? Exposure therapy. I think it's under that.
It's
That
behavioural. Yeah,
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 that
umbrella.
way.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I was, telling her, I'd have like my assessment, and I'm telling her stuff, and she went, "That sounds a bit like OCD. Let me talk to your caseworker." And it's like, right, okay.
Mm.
And then she came back to me, and she's like, "Look, we can either give you treatment for OCD, or you can have treatment for anxiety." And I chose, well, OCD, because I thought, obviously a lot of techniques for anxiety you can just do at home anyway. You can do a lot of self-taught stuff with grounding and stuff like that anyway, which I learnt a lot of grounding anyway on my own. And like I said, best thing I ever did. Is it hard? Yes, it's the hardest type, at least for now, the hardest type of therapy I've ever had to do is exposure therapy. I remember going home after the first session, nearly throwing up at the thought I had to throw my hand sanitizers away at the time, because obviously the science behind it, right? Obviously you have to sit in that anxiety for longer periods of time in order for your body to get used to it, and you don't feel as anxious anymore. And it's
The anxiety will naturally go down over time. The fear goes a lot less down if you're used to it. If you put yourself in the situation, because it's whatever terrible thing you had told yourself was going to happen doesn't happen 9 times out of 10.
it's
But
really
yeah,
good. It really impressed me, to be fair. How it tricks your brain, and it's like, come on, you can do this. And yeah, it was. I've been in remission, because I don't ever say that. I don't think you can ever be cured. I think you can have it in like remission. You can have it treated, And I've been in remission now with my OCD for a good couple of years now. Like, I very rarely have issues ever now with OCD.
Yeah.
So I'm like, can I get closer to that point with my BPD? Now, I know it's different, because obviously that's a personality disorder, but can I just get it just a bit more manageable?
Make it manageable. Yeah. Maybe you'll get there. Like, if you, yeah, I hope for your sake that you do. And yeah, it's sometimes it's like anything. It comes in terms of sometimes it's what you put in, you get out, and sometimes it's just a case of you try throw a load of things at the wall and see what sticks.
It's hard, isn't it? Especially with, like, I think, like, personality disorders, because they're so ingrained in you that, like we was talking about earlier, they literally cause brain damage, like, through that much trauma. It's like, how do you unteach...
The neural pathways.
It's how do you unteach yourself certain things that you've been doing literally all your life. But that, I could talk a whole other episode about that. I talk so much about BPD, to be fair. But does anyone else, before we wrap this up, does anyone else in the chat have any more questions for my lovely guest this evening? While they have their flavoured air. Hey, you know what? That's something I've managed to stop this year. I've been vape free for 6 months now.
Nice one. Well done. I keep trying to give up. I can do about 4 hours at a time.
It's hard. I still get that mental craving. That, like, obviously I don't have physical cravings anymore, but that mental, when I'm stressed still, I'm like, oh, I could have a smoke. Oh, I could, just a pineapple flavoured tropical one.
Oh, yeah. Blueberry Raz.
Yeah. Mr. Blue.
Nice. Yeah. What am I on? This is like lemon sherbet or something. I don't bloody know. I'll just get the cheapest ones.
Well, not cheap, are they? But is that it? I think, is that it, guys? Have we talked you, psyched you out all now for the evening? It was a fantastic episode. I actually really enjoyed this evening, because it's nice to talk to someone else that, like, kind of gets it, and I'm like, oh my god, I know what you're talking about. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
So it's been
Brilliant.
really good. If you want to check out your TikTok and stuff, do you want to give us the name of your handle again?
Yeah, so it's Trafford Counselling, TRAFFORD, counselling with 2 L's, COUNSELLING. On Instagram, and TRFD Counselling on TikTok. traffordcounselling.co.uk if you want to see my website, which took me ages to do on Wix. I was like, how do I do this? How do I make the little image bigger? But yeah, there we go. Yeah, if you want to see my actual, like, eye for design, get on the website.
Hell yeah, you know. Well, I can't make a fucking website. I don't know how to do that. But yes, guys, we'll wrap it up here then. I'll just say a goodbye to you all and have a lovely weekend and take care.